Good afternoon from Mountain Patriot Homestead. Glad y'all could join us. Hope that the first week of 2023 has went well for you. I meant to get this out on the first day of January. That did not happen, as you can tell. I got a little distracted, things going on, and just didn't get it done. I hope that is not an indication of how the year's going to go. But, you know, things just happen. Life happens. So I just wanted to catch up with you and see how that first week went. As you can tell, I am not in the living room or kitchen today. I was going to film this outside, maybe fishing. That didn't happen because the wind, which now it kind of looks like the wind's died down some. But when I was planning to do this, the wind was whipping, and it's like y'all are never going to be able to hear what I say. And so it was a little cool, and I decided I'll just get in side by side and we'll go down the woods and do it there. So here we are. I said it was a little cool. Actually, it's very nice considering it is January 6th here on the mountain. Normally this January and February for us is the cold months. And so for it to be 50 degrees today, it's rather balmy. Of course, the wind makes it feel a little cooler, but 50 degrees, we'll take that 50 degrees. It sure feels better than that minus 40 wind chill that we had a couple of weeks ago. So we will take it and will not complain about it. We have had a good first week. We got back to work. It was a little bit of a short week because we both had Monday off. So we caught up pretty much at work this week, and we never catch up at work here on the homestead because there's always projects. So I don't know if you set any resolutions this year. We don't set resolutions personally. We just try to finish what we're always doing, which is projects after projects. And my suggestion this year to my loving husband is, how about we don't start any new projects until we get all of the old ones done. Because we are so bad about, we'll start something and then, oh, now this needs doing, oh, and while we're at it, we need to do this, until we've got 100 projects in process, but none of them are finished. So we are working on projects, finishing projects, and not starting any new ones until the old ones are done. Now, that being said, we've always had this fencing here for the cows. And now that we have goats, of course, that fencing's not working, or it's not going to work because we're small. We're not going to let the goats out and sheep until we get the sheep and goat wire up where we're going to have them. And so now all of this has to be re-fenced and cross-fenced. So that's a project. It's not exactly a new project, but it does mean that we've got a lot of work. If we got out here and just started fencing and cross-fencing right now, it'd probably take months. So to say this is it probably won't even be done in 2023. I'm betting it will not be done. First of all, to have the money for it to get done will probably not happen. But we've got all this fencing. The wonderful thing about owning your own place is, you know, you do it as you can. And so we'll get that fencing done as much as we can. And, you know, we've got, always have projects. That's just part of owning a farm. I'm sitting here, from where I'm sitting, I can see the goats. They seem to all be happy. The new little buckling, because he's so much tinier than everybody else, he knows his pecking order right now, but one of these days he'll be a big boy, and the girls won't pick on him as much then. You know how that goes. Y'all Y'all know how kids are. So everything seems to be doing fine here for our first week. Like I mentioned, we'll have fencing to work on. We've got cows to work tomorrow. I'll try to put a little video out about that. I won't promise I'll put the video out because once we get started working cows, it's hard to say, hold on just a second, I want to get my camera. That doesn't always work. Sometimes the language when we're working cows isn't always the best, may not be appropriate. So, but depending on how the cows are acting, so we're going to be working cows. That's a non-stop thing. Another thing that I've got going, of course, it's that time of year where the garden's put to bed, but getting it ready, because it won't be, I mean, you think, okay, January and February is our coldest months. Some of y'all already, I'm sure, have gardens, but for us, January, February, I don't usually put out anything through February because it's just too cold. If I put it out, even if it's cold weather stuff, it gets too cold and it'll freeze and it'll die. So I usually wait till March, and then I'll start putting out my cold weather stuff. I'll have onion sets coming in from Dixondale Farms. Will be and I'm not sponsored by Dixondale Farms. That's just who I use and who I've used for several years now. I love their product that they ship. Their onion sets are wonderful. I always get wonderful onions from them. The sets grow into just wonderful onions, and here where we're at, I will order the intermediate day onions, and I'll be getting those sets in March, get them in the ground. I'll be planting the lettuces and probably throw out some turnip seeds and cabbage and all of that. So all of the cold weather stuff, the brassicas, all of that like the cooler temperatures. And then I'll get the greenhouse cranked up and start planting stuff, my warmer weather things, so they will be ready to go. And that usually is April into May, and then everything is set out by the end of May, is set out in the garden. And anyway, that will be going on. I'll probably be going to Miami, Oklahoma, where I go over to the, I believe it's JM mushroom plant, and pick up compost. I use their mushroom compost in my garden. My raised beds. It does wonderfully. My garden, since I've been using that, has been fantastic. I mean, I cannot complain about what's been coming out of my garden. We had a drought this past summer, and even with the drought, the garden done fabulously. So I'm very happy with how the compost works. And so that's another project. Something that is not outdoors related that I want to do this year is I want to focus on estate planning. We've always believed it very important when our children were little that we kept updated wills in case something happened to us, that they would be taken care of. Well, it's no less important now that they're adults, that we make sure that everything is up to date and taken care of, because if something were to happen to both of us, we don't want to leave a mess and probate and all that kind of stuff that a family has to deal with when there's a death in the family. So we want to make sure that everything, that our estate planning is up to date and good to go. Another thing that we're focusing on this year is finances. Of course, that is something that a lot of folks are focusing on right now because, we all know money doesn't grow on trees. If it does, I want the seeds. Send me seeds if you know where the money, where it grows on trees. But a lot of folks are hurting right now. We are very blessed that we have a place where we can grow food. We've got our animals, we've got our gardens, we've got, if we had to survive, these woods that's here behind me, I'm a forager. I believe in foraging. My mom always said that good Lord didn't put anything on this earth that didn't have a use. And so I like foraging. I have books and books and books that show me edibles and medicinals. Boy, it would help if I could learn the English language. But I can't even think of the word I'm trying to use. Plants I can use as medicine. There's just days it would be if I only had a brain, me and the scarecrow. Anyway, I love foraging and learning about foraging and trying to learn more and more about the things that grow around us and what we can use. Because what if it come down to all we had was the plants that grow wild? Would we be able to live? Well, thankfully, where we are so fortunate that pretty much, I'm just looking out the window right here, and even though it is wintertime, there is green plants that are all around me here, and I recognize so many of them as being useful. Now, the ones that I don't recognize as being useful, I think that's just because I haven't learned those yet. Because I'm pretty sure that everything around me I can use. Even this juniper tree that I'm parked next to, I collect the juniper berries off of it. I harvest them. The limbs themselves I can cut off and give to the goats because it's a good wormer for the goats. So everything around us has a use, and we just have to learn what that use is. That's another goal that I have this year, is to continue my education on the uses of our wild plants that grow around us, because I think it's just important. That's just some of the things that we're trying to do. Of course, what I was saying about finances, we are trying to look at various ways to save money, and a lot of it is not anything fancy. You can find all kinds of YouTube videos where people are talking about, oh, do this, do that, that are much more eloquent than I am when it comes to ideas of how to save money. I don't know anything about stock markets and things like that. I don't know anything. I hear people all the time, buy gold, buy silver, buy that. Well, okay, y'all are smarter than I am. Maybe that's a thing. Me, I buy canning jars and I buy cattle feed, and I buy things like that because that's things I can go out there that if I have to, if I want a hamburger, I'm watching them walking across the pasture right now. If I need eggs, I see my girls running around out there acting goofy. I don't know what they're doing, chasing something. Surely there's not a June bug out there, but they're chasing something. But, that's the kind of stock market I invest in. But people that know how to do that are good at it, they make a living at it. People make livings at working the stock market. So I don't know anything about that type of finances. I do know that I use what I've got for what I need. That's my type of finances. I shop at home first. I look to see what do I already have, so I don't have to run to the store, because you never run in and buy just one thing. One of the things that I'm cutting out this year is ordering everything online. I think at first that was a good idea because it kept me out of the store. Because, like I said, you don't just go in and buy. I'm sorry, Pepper's over here walking around. You don't just go in and buy a jug of milk. You go in, you buy a jug of milk, and then you see something else. Well, I just need that. Oh, and I need this, and this would be good, and that. And before long, you've got a cart full. So, I try my best to not go into the stores unless I absolutely have to, but I'm going to cut out ordering online unless it's an absolute necessity that I cannot get locally for whatever reason. Because even though it started out being a good idea to keep me out of the stores and I thought it was faster, I think it's become too easy. I think that if I have to go to the trouble of finding a parking place, walking to the store, walking through the store, finding it, putting it in the cart, going to self-checkout, because apparently the world has went to self-checkout, checking it out myself, paying for it myself, bagging it up myself, taking it to the car myself, driving myself home, unloading it myself, and then dealing with it myself. If I have to do, all of that, it's going to be a very important item for me to have went to all that trouble. So, because I think I tell you this in every video, I don't like to shop. So for me to go to all that trouble to buy stuff, it's going to be something I have to have. So I've decided that I'm going to quit ordering online unless I just have to, because I think that will cut out a lot of needless throwing things into your shopping cart online. So that's just something that I'm going to start doing. I say start. I've already doing. I have not spent anything so far in 2023, except I filled up my tank with gas. And within 2 days, gas went up. Let me think here. Went up 21 cents within 2 days of me filling up my tank. That's, anyway, we're not going to get all off into that. But that's another way, just making myself, if I have to have something, making myself go to the store and get it. Another way that recently we've saved several $100s, if not right at $1,000, is things around the place here breaking. And this is just within the last 2 or 3 weeks. Things around the place here breaking. And my husband, being Mr. Fix-It that he is, sitting down, figuring it out, watching YouTube videos, and fixing broken things has saved us hundreds of dollars. If he can find a YouTube video on it, he can fix it. So that has saved us a lot of money. Another thing that saves us a lot of money is having good neighbors. If you have got good neighbors or friends that you can borrow things from. Let me give you an example. In that recent video where we made sausage, that mixer that we had in there that was mixing the meat in with the seasoning before we run it through the stuffer, that mixer on that video, we actually borrowed from a friend of ours, from a neighbor, because he had the mixer. We've got the grinder. So if you've got a good neighbor, good friend, that you can trade things. That maybe you've got, I don't know, maybe you've got a blender and your neighbor has a mixer, and y'all can share things whenever, if you're only going to use it once a year, if you're, whatever you're using, like that mixer, if we're only going to use it once or twice a year, do we need to buy one if we can borrow theirs? Now, we are very much sticklers about, if we borrow something, we're going to return it in as good of, if not better condition than it was when we borrowed it. I will not return something broken or damaged without, I'm going to replace it first, because I would not want people borrowing stuff from me and then returning it torn up. So, my goodness, I don't know what that noise is, but anyway, if you hear that, I don't know if it's a plane going over or what that, even the dogs are all looking, but anyway, now, what I was saying was, if you can borrow the items, then that is one way to save money, because that way everybody doesn't have to own everything, and you don't have to have a tool that, let me think, an air nailer. Maybe you have a building project and your neighbor has an air nailer. Well, you're only going to use that air nailer once, and so they loan you the air nailer. And then maybe later on you've got a, I don't know, air compressor, and they need an air compressor, but they only need it once. That way you trade things back and forth, and it doesn't cost everybody an arm and a leg to have things that they may only use one time. So again, just little ideas of ways to save money. Books are another thing. If you can borrow books back and forth between friends, why buy a bunch of books if you can? Now, if it's like some of my reference books, my research books for foraging and things, I want those because I'm going to use them all, and I do use them all the time. But if it's just some book that I want to just read for entertainment, and maybe the library didn't have it, or don't want to run to the library, borrow things back and forth. Again, these aren't like mind-blowing ideas that you've never heard of before, but maybe just a little reminder. But that's what we're doing here on the homestead right now. This first week is just trying to organize our thoughts, trying to organize some of the projects. Hopefully, we'll get some of these things knocked out and just get the ball rolling on the new year. If you will comment down below, tell us what you're up to. Do you have any resolutions? Do you have any money saving ideas? Do you just have any comment that you want to make? Please do that down below. I always forget to I say always, I don't always, but most of the time I forget to ask, would you please subscribe to this channel? Thank you so much for watching. But it does help the algorithms for the channel if you subscribe and you click that like button. If you like it, please give it a thumbs up and comment. It does help the channel. It helps get us noticed. I'm so appreciative of the 53 people that have subscribed as of today. I am just so grateful that you chose to subscribe to this channel. I thank you for watching. I hope you come back. I have a lot of plans for this channel, and the first few months of this have been learning how to use the equipment. If you have any suggestions, on things to improve what I'm doing, please let me know. Again, if you don't tell me, and you know better than I do, I won't know if people don't tell me. So if you have suggestions on how to improve the filming, or whatever, you know, the music's too loud, or I'm too loud, or I'm not loud enough, just let me know, because I want to make this a successful thing. I don't want it to just be all chit-chat. I want to, later, when the garden starts coming in, I would like to do some canning videos if you would be interested in that. Of course, maybe some cooking, maybe just some projects around the farm, you know, videotaping some of the stuff that we do around here. If you think any of that sounds interesting, or if you have any ideas on things that you would like to see us doing here or talk about, please let us know. We love having you here, and we hope that you come back. Y'all take care. Love y'all. Mountain Patriot Homestead, signing out.